Gopher It. This is a simple children game for very young children. I played it with my daughters that are 4.5 and 2.5, and even the 2.5 can actually play it. She doesn't really understand the strategy behind it, but she can go through the motions, so she can perform the moves, she can follow the rules, to give you a sense of how simple the rules are. The idea is that you're helping this this nice looking critter here to stock food that he will then consume during winter. And there are 3 types of food that this guy is looking for, and they are carrots, apples, and acorns. You have a deck of cards that represents this guy with different amounts of carrots, apples, and acorns, and the amounts go from 1 to 3. So different combinations of different types of food with different types of numbers, with different numbers. You also have a deck of cards which are all the same. They simply represent trophies. You hand one to each player every time the player scores a point, and if you play with little children, you know how important it is for them to see and to feel and to hold victory. The concept of you scored a point is a little extra for them. This really helps them to get excited and to feel rewarded when they do score a point. Now, you shuffle the main deck of cards, and then you put them in the middle of the table in a fun, nice, cute looking mess. This is recommended in the rules, and it is completely unnecessary, because in any case during the game you will draw cards randomly. So if you simply had a well-shuffled deck and people were drawing from the deck, you would be exactly the same that you would have when people are simply drawing random cards from here. But children don't know that. It's more fun that they see this nice looking mess, and this area is called the garden where our protagonist is looking for food. When it is your turn, you take a card and you flip it face up, and you look at what you got, the number and the type of food. Every time that you flip a card, you can choose to stop or to continue. If you stop, you simply take the card or cards that you revealed that turn and you put them in front of you in your play area. That's simple. If you want to continue, then you simply flip another card, and after you have revealed it, you can choose again to continue or to stop. You can continue for as long as you want, and as long as you do not break a key rule. Every time that you're revealing a new card, you're taking a risk, because you will lose all of the potential cards that you're trying to acquire if you ever reveal the same type of symbol twice in a row. For example, here in this run, I did reveal 2 apples, but they were not sequential. There was another symbol in between. The number doesn't matter. If I had revealed 1 apple and then immediately after that 3 apples, that would be bad. So see, this is a pretty lucky run, because again I got carrots, but not right after other carrots. Ooh. See, I pushed my luck too much. I kept drawing, and now I got 2 acorns in a sequence, and then all of the cards that I could have acquired are lost. The case that you saw here rarely happens, if ever, with children. Children do not like to take risks so much. On average, 2 cards is what they like to get. That is as much risk as they want to take. My 2.5-year-old actually only takes a card. She's so happy that she got the card. She puts it in a play area. She matches it with the other symbols. So happy. So she doesn't push her luck at all. My 2-year-old usually goes for 2 or occasionally 3 cards. But suppose that the cards had come out in disorder here, then actually this would have been a pretty lucky run, a perfectly legitimate run that would allow me to grab all of these cards and put them in my play area. When you put cards in your play area, you will want to put them in sets. Simply organize them by symbol, leaving only the symbol visible, so that you can quickly count how many you have of each kind. Your goal is to get 6 and exactly 6 of any one symbol. In this case, I'm very lucky because I got exactly 6 acorns. If it was 5 or 4, nothing would have happened. I would simply have to keep drawing this turn or next turn. If you go over 6, then you had to discard all of the cards that you got in that category. Suppose this is my situation. There's the card that I get. Now I have 7. I went over the required amount, which is 6. I have to discard all of my acorns. When you do, so yes, you figured it out that this is blackjack for kids. When you do score a point by forming a set of exactly 6 of any one kind of edible goodie, then you got a trophy. And this is something kids, I played it with, took a while to get used to. You had to discard everything, and they're like, why would you do that? And it's counterintuitive to adults, I have to say, and especially to kids. Probably to kids it's not counterintuitive, it's just they don't like to discard their cards, but they get a trophy. Come on, who cares about the discards? So this is how the game works. Players will keep drawing cards, forming sets. Sometimes they put the sets in their area, sometimes they use those to score, sometimes they take too many risks, or they're just very unlucky and they have to discard everything. And you continue like this until a player has collected 3 trophies. What I explained to you is the basic idea, the basic rules. So with my daughters, actually, we play a slightly friendlier version, which is just what I told you, but if you go over 6, nothing happens. All that matters is that you collect enough cards that at some point you are able to produce a set of 6. So in the standard rules, if this was the situation, I drew this card, then I have a 7, I have to discard all of my acorns. In the version that we played, simply if this is the situation, you got this card, then you would put it in your area. You can have as many of a kind as you want, and you score when you're able to organize your cards in any way that produces a 6, which actually also think is useful for the kids. One of the points of the game, of course, is to help them to count to 6, but in this way actually they have a little more freedom, because it is also a matter of adding things creatively, figuring out how to add your cards so that that they may add up to exactly 6. So draw cards, form sets, sometimes fail, sometimes succeed, and you win the game if you manage to collect 3 trophies. This is a children game in the purest sense of the word, in the sense that there are games that you play with children and they also double as light fillers, as entertaining games that adults can play among themselves. Not this one. This is clearly targeted towards the skills, abilities, interests of very young children, and there isn't much for adults apart from the satisfaction that you have when you're playing it with your children. So if you're a parent, an uncle, a grandpa, you may consider picking up a copy of this for your little darlings, because actually the young ones really enjoy it. I think it's really good that even my 2-year-old daughter can play it. It is that simple. She can put together the sets to collect the carrots and the acorn and the apples. She's definitely happy. She's happy that by not taking any risks, she is going to get something every turn. She's really happy with that. The fact that you had to give up everything to get a trophy took her a little more to get used to, but it is simple, it's fun. There's a little bit of set collection, that's something that a 2-year-old can grasp and can enjoy. For my 4.5-year-old, the game is definitely more complex, because she sees that the point is to take risks, which children do not always like to do. Of course, they haven't developed our ideas that you're gambling on something, you may lose something, but if it goes well, then you get something more in return, or that the idea of investing, that is, you put something in a certain situation, you invest something, you spend something, but in the hopes that you will get something bigger. The idea of giving up something really is not appealing to young people. In this game, of course, they can get used to that idea in a safer, very controlled, very artificial environment. The first time or two that they don't get the cards that they did flip, the young friends are going to be disappointed. That was my experience with my daughter. But after a while, she saw that it happens to everybody, it happens to dad too. It happens very often to me, actually, so that is something that helped my daughter get used to the idea that it's nothing personal, it's just the game that sometimes doesn't give you what you want. So it kind of like helps us psychologically get into that idea of you get what you get and you don't get upset, and the more risks you take, the more likely it is that you're not going to get anything. So they learn how to push the luck a little bit. There's a little bit of math involved in adding the numbers of the symbols. In my variant that I explained in the previous segment, actually it's an even more creative approach to that. And now my daughter really has started to see the numbers. If she sees a 1, a 2, and a 3, she has learned that that goes to 6. It has become internalized. So it's a game that I think she is benefiting from playing, and what's very important, she's enjoying, because otherwise it would be just homework. So this is a game that plays fast, that appeals to young friends, and even when they're just 4 or 5, like my daughter, they get what the game is about, they understand what the game is about. For example, when I'm playing, when it's my turn and I flip maybe 3 cards, and I'm ready to bring them home, she's like, well, Dad, why don't you get another one? I think you'll get lucky. Come on, try another one. I was like, okay, I flip it. Dad, one more, I think you can get more. So she's trying to convince me to get more cards. And of course I know why she does that, because she wants me to fail. She has figured it out, which is really funny, which is really amusing. And it tells you that this idea of pushing your luck is something that she has learned through this game. So Gopher It is a game that is very simple to play. The components look good, the art is amusing, the components are very sturdy. My daughters have enjoyed playing it. I do not know that it will have a very long staying power with my older one. My younger one, she's not playing the idea, get a card, yay! And then later she'll get into the push your luck thing. So I think that for her, the game has more wrinkles that will emerge. I do not know that in the long run this will be a game that my daughter will play for a long time, for years to come, or just many more times. It may end up being a filler even for a child. When she's maybe 6, I think that this will not be the main game that she will want to play when she wants to play games. Maybe before or after another game, she'll want to have a quick run at this one. Because I think it can get old later, as it can get old fast as your child gets old too. But as of now, we already got a lot of gaming out of Gopher It, so I'm pretty happy that I picked it up. Also, it was pretty expensive. Even if we don't play it very often in the future, I think we already got our money back, in the sense that we got enough enjoyment out of this game to make the purchase more than worth it.